Racism is still alive, and right now they ain't even concealing it, or the concealed is being exposed, right? They said we're in the age of Pisces, which is the age of things coming to light. So the last age we was in the age of Aquarius. So in this age of Pisces, a lot of things are coming to light, and a lot of stuff coming to light, especially with racism. Racism is more American than America. Racism is the foundation of this country. If you don't learn nothing else from this episode, learn that racism is the reason why America exists. Racism is the exact direct reason why America exists. Racism is the exact and direct reason why people are protesting in the streets. Motherfucking protest and keep protesting. But racism is the root cause of all of this. Racism within the police force, which led to police violence, which leads us all to where we are right here in this world. White people, before I read the story, my white people, my white friends, my white allies, my white people who I don't know, white people I know and don't know, listen to me. This is a time for you, a lot of you people, to close your ears. Open your ears, close your mouth, especially when I'm talking about listening. Listen to black people. Listen to what we're saying, how we feel, and what's going on. Listen to us. Your job is to fight the system of white supremacy and fight it hard. That's your job. Fight the system of white supremacy. Tear that bitch down. That's your job. All my white people, if you are truly against racism in America, fight it. Fight it. Because it's a lot of disingenuous stuff going on out here. So you got the NFL and Roger Goodell all releasing these statements. You know, I talked about this in the last show, but nah, man, it's not that easy. It's not that easy just to say, well, we're going to start releasing these statements because we now get it. Because the NFL and Roger Goodell and them are saying, well, Colin Kaepernick was right and we were wrong. What the duh? So you trying to tell me 4 years ago and beyond, black people didn't have an issue with police brutality? Now you see it? What's different now? What's different now? Because Eric Gardner was killed on camera. A whole lot of people were killed on camera. Eric Gardner was choked out on camera by the police. And this outrage and none of this from the country, from as many people in the country, these corporations, the NFL and thing, y'all didn't say nothing then. Now, we're not saying you can't say nothing now. But if it's going to be disingenuous, save it. Back it up with real actions. I just learned from listening to The Odd Couple with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. I just learned that the NFL forced the city of Arizona, or the state of Arizona, the NFL forced the state of Arizona to implement Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a federal paid holiday, or as a state paid holiday. And how did they do that? They said, we will no longer be hosting Super Bowls in your state until you make Martin Luther King Day an official day. And a year later, Arizona made that. The NFL has power to make institutional structural change. But the NFL has to make that change within themselves. A Rooney Rule shouldn't have to exist. You motherfuckers just made an amendment on the Rooney Rule to where you incentivize owners for hiring black coaches. Think about this. Just a couple weeks ago, not just a couple weeks ago in the NFL, we were talking about a revision, an amendment to the Rooney Rule to incentivize organizations for hiring black coaches. Because racism exists in the NFL. And so, NFL and Roger Goodell, you putting out these statements, these teams putting out statements in support of the protest or speaking out against the continued police brutality that black people face on a regular basis. Now you want to put this out a couple of weeks later or a month or so later. I just talked about the amendment to the running rule a couple shows ago. Black Ahmaud Arbery was a couple of weeks ago, a month or so ago, not too long ago. Nobody said anything. So now, because George, you can't tell me the death of George Floyd just all man. Oh no, we feel sorry for black people, even though we didn't feel sorry for black people when Breonna Taylor was killed. We didn't feel sorry for black people when Ahmaud Arbery was killed. We didn't feel sorry for black people when Trayvon Martin was killed. We didn't feel sorry for black people when Eric Gardner was killed. We didn't feel sorry for black people when Sandra Bland was killed. We didn't feel sorry for black people when Corinne Goins was killed. Our black men and women are being slaughtered by the police, and you people have been saying nothing. Save your words. Show it with actions. What are you going to do, NFL? Internally, guess what? Now, on the NFL side, even though I personally think Cap should tell the NFL to kiss his dick, the NFL, if you really want to show that you've turned the corner, get the Cap on the squad. Now, I personally, from a social stance, fuck that shit. But from the NFL saying, for the NFL putting actions toward behind their words and saying that they're moving forward, they've learned their lesson, they believe that they've made a mistake with Colin Kaepernick, get the goddamn man a job. And not only that, start working to break down structural injustices in this country. Use your money, use your power, use your influence. Start challenging things. Like they were talking about, I've been reading about how people have been saying Roger Goodell has been working behind the scenes to get Kaepernick a job. Roger Goodell, you're supposed to go public, go vocal, and call out the owners who not getting Cap, who didn't give him a chance in the past. Cause we saw that little bullshit thing that Roger Goodell and Jay-Z and all the people tried to do with Kaepernick. Nah, man, get that man, do something real and get that man on the squad. Also, fight. Your job is to fight structural injustice, fight structural racism. Fight it, fight it, fight it. Put some actions behind your words. And if you're not going to put no actions behind your words, say the shit because you're being disingenuous. We know you motherfuckers is lying. We know, y'all, it's trendy now to say Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, the slogan, the quote, has become trendy. And white corporations who've never been saying nothing, you guys don't want to look bad and lose money because you see white people out there protesting. You see white people out there protesting in them streets, and y'all like, damn, these the people who we want their money. So we're not gonna piss these white people off because clearly we don't give a damn about black people. But because we see white people protesting, we're gonna put out these statements and say, hey, this is wrong. We stand with George Floyd and the black community and Black Lives Matter. Man, y'all don't stand with shit. Save your statements. Start with actions. Start donating money to real grassroots black organizations who've been out here working. And let me say this too. Protesters. Everybody has a role to play on these teams. A protest with no organization is a waste of time. It's not going to make anything happen. It's not going to have any long-term effects. How can we have these protests have long-term effects but also be connected with continuous community action? That should be one of the things that we're working on behind the scenes.